Greetings all. My name's Steve Curtin. This is for the Green Sanctuary meeting for November 2024. This is November 23rd. And every month we've been picking a theme based on the four directions. And this theme will be on Earth. And it seemed particularly appropriate for me because I'm a Taurus sign. And I wanted to give us a little bit of perspective. First of all, a lot of this stuff is kind of stuff we learned in grade school, but it's good to reflect on just what a minuscule part of the Earth we inhabit, and how much damage we do to it anyway. The total Earth surface area is 196.9 million square miles. Um, And a little factoid I learned at one point was 95% of our oceans are entirely unexplored. 95%. Now, if we do the math that oceans cover 71% of our Earth's surface, that means that there is 64.45% of our planet that has never seen a human. Which is kind of sobering. The other thing I wanted to remind you is that we think of ourselves as separate from the Earth. But we are, just as we are made of stars, and the Earth is made of stars, we are also made of the Earth. We consume materials that come from the Earth as nutrients, and then our mothers create us, and then we return back to the Earth when we die. And in fact, we change our whole cell structure every 7 months or something. We also have, we've mentioned, we also have a water cycle, and we have a constant amount of water that we have on this planet that turns into different forms, but it's basically the same amount, just changing forms. There is, let me just go to the next picture is we have differing, it's sort of like a shell, multiple shells, the Earth is. And this is not to scale, because the one thing I heard, I think it was in geology class, that the thickness of the amount of the Earth that we inhabit and use is basically like the thickness of a coat of paint on a basketball. A very, very small amount. And there's very little of it that's the amount of drilling we've done into the Earth's surface is very limited compared to how much there is to explore. But we have, even with how much of that we cover, we can have a lot of impact on the Earth. And here's where we have impact. We have impact in freshwater consumption, because we have most of the ocean, most of the water is ocean and is salt based. So and here in Michigan, we're sitting between the two largest sources of fresh water on the planet. So we need to worry about and be concerned with things like pollution of the environment, stratospheric ozone depletion, ocean acidification, deforestation as well. And so one of the biggest impacts that we use is actually agriculture is the largest impact and covers the most surface area. And agriculture uses 37% of the Earth's land, 70% of its fresh water supply. It's the biggest source of nutrient runoff, which then leads to acidification of the planet's freshwater and ocean. So that's the biggest part of so we need to figure out ways to be better about and recognize that the stuff we put on the fields will eventually run off into our oceans. Now, the biggest pressure for us is population. So you're seeing that we're looking at, and in terms of land area as well, this shows you how much of land was used in terms of less and less. You'll see less, the orange line is less and less forest. And in terms of the urban is coming up, but our population is heading towards 10 billion. So it's hard to know what the Earth will look like at that point. And another impact on the Earth is mining. My brother Charles Curtin is a PhD biologist. He's sometimes been on here, and he told me sort of an inside joke among conservationists is that there's an organization called the Bureau of Land Management, the BLM. It's also known as the Bureau of Lumber and Mining. So, because that's also what their part is. So, and I don't really have a lot of pictures of mining per se, but we're all familiar with what those have. And I wanted to turn on to oil wells and fracking and how we get because we run on electricity. Our whole culture runs on electricity, so we have a lot of and our cars run on gasoline currently, and that's being transitioned as well. So first of all, this is a picture of oil wells. This is a conventional way that we pull oil out of the ground. And there's a whole list of ways those are bad for the environment. But then we also moved on to fracking, which is fracking does even more. And I want to give sort of a fracking 101 because a lot of us hear about fracking and we don't really know about what the process is or what it does. And it even became sort of a political football over in Pennsylvania because it was claimed that some people wanted to ban fracking and they didn't because the ship has sailed on that. So here is a picture from the side of what fracking does. Is it injects a mixture of water and a bunch of other chemicals that shouldn't be in the earth to cause fractures in the oil and the rock, which allow oil or gas to flow to the well. And you can see there's other impacts as well. Spills and leaks of fracking fluid, inadequately built wells, poor wastewater management can contaminate the drinking water because in theory, at least we're told, that the fracking goes below the drinking water and won't contaminate our aquifer, but that's certainly possible. And in terms of the amount of water that it uses, is that's enough to fill 15.9 Olympic swimming pools. So that's a lot of impact there as well. And here are the places where fracking could potentially happen. So actually there's a lot of fracking and a lot of shale oil in Michigan, I see. And so these are areas where there could be impact, and there are documented cases, I believe that even in Missouri, of earthquakes being caused by fracking because that disturbs some soil under. So, and even we've got, in terms of other energy, ways to get energy, we're seeing, unfortunately, interest in nuclear coming back. They're even thinking of restarting the 3 Mile Island because of the need for energy from artificial intelligence, a lot of those server farms, as well as the cryptocurrency, the Bitcoin mining is consuming a lot of energy as well. So we're putting a lot of pressure on our planet, even though it seems like there's a lot of it. So we need to be able to be mindful of that and be able to treat it kindly. So we will be advocating for that. And in the comments to this video, I'll also be including a list of places you can contact if you're concerned about the environment and want to chip in. So, but for now, this is today's presentation, and I thank you for watching now and in the future.